the impact of AI on marketing and branding.
Damn. Hi, guys. Do you still have energy or not? Okay, it seems not. Can you please just stand up, everybody? Please, come on, come on, come on, please, please, please. Because I've seen faces here all night, like all day, and just you're keeping up. So I want to give a high, like big applause for you for keeping up. Thank you so much. Please clap for yourself. Thank you, please. All right, I wonder if this panel is created by AI next year. Would it be interesting? Next year, we're gonna find out. So, guys, I think it's safe to say that AI is a major factor in marketing nowadays, right? So I wanna ask just a general question to base it on the rest of the discussion. Who here thinks that in 10 years, marketers will be completely replaced by AI? Who thinks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, interesting. So I'd like to have our experts here to tell us more about this kind of bold prediction. Daniel, I have a question for you.
Well, I think it might be 3 years.
3 years.
So I think the great thing is we have access to all these tools. Before the panel was talking about what types of tools. The challenge with everyone having access to the same tools, everything might sound the same, or everything might be at a certain high level, that how do you level up? I think that's going to be a challenge for all of us, right? You also have the ability where our services are going to go down in price because everything will get cheaper.
True.
So will we even have a business in 10 years?
Makes
Will
sense.
there even be an entrepreneur in 10 years?
100%. Another question. If AI took over your agency tomorrow, what would be the first campaign that AI can create?
I think AI has already taken over our agency because most of the work that we do is created or generated somehow through AI. It seems to be way smarter and better than we are. We've been able to downsize the amount of employees, which is, kind of the future, right? Probably less employees doing more things and creating better things than they were by themselves.
Beautiful. Colin, you were telling me about the branding business you were working on. Do you think when AI now creates branding for businesses, do you think now it's a game changer, or is it still weak, or is it like it's a joke, or what do you think?
I mean, just to come back to the other point is that I don't think AI is going to completely replace an entire agency or anything like that. People always want other people in the middle. If for nothing else, if just to blame them if it goes wrong. But at the end of the day, it is something that will, like you said, take over an awful lot of the automation. It enables AI to do the work that we hate to do, and for us to do more of the work that we like to do. I don't know about you guys, but I like to talk to people. I like to understand them, I like to figure out, to help them figure out what they want to do, and then we'll get the AI tools to execute that campaign and things like that, like you do. So I think 10 years, it's absolutely impossible to tell what's going to happen. I think anything after 5 years it's anyone's guess. I think it's a very exciting time right now. I just try to tell people that as long as you're, like was said in the past panels, as long as you're out there trying the tools, utilizing them, trying to figure out what's going on, you're going to be fine. If you're going to bury your head in the sand, maybe you will be replaced by AI. But it's just going to change the entire outlook of how we work, and I believe in a better way, because it enables us to do more of the things that we enjoy doing and less of the things that we hate doing.
True. Rola, I want to ask you about performance marketing. Like, as you know, AI doesn't sleep. So when you run a campaign, it's 24/7. But at the same time, in performance marketing, you need to do optimization, right? So you measure the results, optimize, and usually it takes a human to do that. So how do you ensure there's a balance in performance marketing when it comes AI and human?
Well, when we look at high performance in general, whether it's marketing or humans, we have to remember that performance is driven by details, by going deeper, having as much data as possible, and then making an aware decision based on that data. So whether it's marketing or a person, we have to go deep, right? So the AI has got that, right? Between when we look at people and high performance, we're looking at the behavioral science, the neuroscience. We apply that now to AI, which now they're superhuman because they're taking that behavioral science and the neuroscience strategies and applying it in real time while we're trying to do it at a performance level, they're milliseconds performing. There's nothing we need to do there besides sit back and allow it to happen. And to that note, I know people may get a little scared because this conversation is a little scary when you think about what it's doing to us, to our jobs, to our future. I believe, and some of the most brilliant minds in the world right now agree that creating your own level of influence, your own level of high performance, really tapping out yourself, regardless of AI, is going to be a very important strategy for anybody moving forward.
Beautiful, beautiful, amazing. One of the concerns that I was reading about yesterday is, Daniel, if you can chip in on this one, is when we give freedom to AI to create marketing campaigns and branding, when we give it like a really big freedom, how can we draw a line and how do we ensure that it doesn't cross any ethical line or any privacy lines, you know? Because when you are getting something automatically doing a job while you're sleeping, you never know what happens. So how do you think we can tackle this, like to ensure privacy is preserved and no ethical lines are being crossed by AI?
Wow.
By the way, sorry guys, feel free to chip in. It's like a...
Okay, it's a very good question. And I think this just shows why we still need humans in the loop right now, okay? Now, I'm a huge AI advocate, and I do think that eventually it's going to get so good that it will be better than most of us or all of us, and who knows how many years into the future. But right now, that is the major thing. I mean, we've seen the lawyers putting cases together where AI has hallucinated the cases that it's referencing. And right now, I absolutely would not trust an AI to do everything because it might put some inappropriate comment or it might, tell us to do something that is just not on par with your brand. And it could do very, very significant damage. My bet is that in the next year, we probably will see some examples of an AI probably doing something that, they wouldn't have liked it, and people will learn from that and they come back. But these are teething pains.
Yeah, I wonder how many times we can use that as a scapegoat. Well, the AI made it. We didn't make it, right? How are we going to differentiate between what was or what was not made by AI? And will companies even say, because I, as a company, if I'm going to start putting out a bunch of things, I'm going to want to say, maybe I'm doing this with AI just in case I need to use that. But it's going to be, this is a really, maybe Rola has some really good insight. This is a difficult question.
Honestly, I look at it this way. It's so important that we make it incredibly punishable if you create anything on the deep fake space. Because I think that's probably, yes, there's so many layers to this, but from a personal perspective of what's going on, especially as if you're building brands, and that's the direction for most people, is you're building your personal brand. The deep fakes are terrifying of what's going to come because they're going to get on the phone on FaceTime with your mom and convince her to send money. That's how good it's going to get, and it needs to be so, like the punishment needs to be severe, and the government has to get involved. They have to get involved now before it becomes a problem.
So punishment, and what do you think? The number one thing should be done to make sure this doesn't happen. So punishment is like a severe one. What would be the next step? If, let's say, the government couldn't know who did that, what do they do?
Well, what happens when AI creates things on its own? I mean, who do you punish? So if AI is doing things and it learns and we've reached upper levels of AGI or whatever, ASI or whatever, AZI, if there's something there, and it's doing things on its own, how are we going to, who do we punish? It's like if you have a self-driving car and the car hits somebody, who's punishable? The car, the maker, the owner?
That's interesting.
I feel like we need to figure that out soon.
Yeah, it's becoming scary every day. All right, so when it comes to branding, right now AI can write scripts, can generate images, can generate the whole thing, all right? Do you think it's still missing a human touch, Rola? What do you think? Like, does it connect with people when AI creates the whole branding, or does it still need a human touch? What do you think?
As things stand today, or are you saying in the future?
Now, let's say now.
I think it's still, there's still some work to be done. It's doing, in my opinion, decently well as it learns the science, the behavioral science, the neuroscience that we discussed earlier. I think it's obviously it's going to be unstoppable, but that's the piece in real time where it's like, I know what you're going to say and do before you even know what you're saying and do, because I recognize your patterns of behavior, and then additionally second and third layers. So it's going to be unreal.
What do you think, Colin? Human touch.
Say again?
Like, when AI creates a branding, a full branding for a company, is it still missing the factor, the human touch, the creativity, the connection with the audience? Or is it ready now?
Look, I think a lot of what AI does is it brings the average level up. You know, if you're not a very good marketer or brander or something like that, it's going to bring you way up. So it's sort of upping the average. But if you're one of the top people and then you're utilizing that to do more innovative things, more creative and just better branding and marketing, etc., then I think it's a really, really good thing. Just to come back to what was said, you know, like I said earlier, this is why we still need the humans in the loop. And I totally agree on your point. It will bring a level of sort of sameness to the whole thing. I mean, you know, when you get, I write quite a lot on LinkedIn, and you can clearly tell when people are writing on LinkedIn in the comments, because it's just bland and soulless. So it needs the human touch. It needs personality. That's essentially, like I said to you earlier, AI doesn't have a personality yet, but it will eventually. And then it'll be the battle of whose AI has got the best personality that can, you know, get the mind share of the audience, and then things will go a little bit crazy, I think.
What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, so we have a catchphrase. We turn leaders to thought leaders. And the biggest challenge is not social media stuff like you're saying LinkedIn posts. It's when they're in person doing something, speaking, giving a TEDx, going on a TV interview or something like that. I think the issue, if you rely too much, then when you're in those situations, you might not even really know your business. We've run into situations where people, they gave so much away, they didn't really understand anything anymore because they really weren't doing much physically. So I think it's still good to be in the business, be involved, to still have an understanding, because if you're in those situations, it can be difficult.
Makes sense. I feel like I want to do an exercise right now to base it on that, what we just discussed. Let's say AIBC want to create their own marketing campaign next year, and they want to involve AI heavily. So Daniel, Collins, if you can like drop ideas like using AI, leveraging AI to market next year, and then Rola, I have a question for you after the guys finish. What do you think you can do?
So this weekend I spent a bit of time researching AI agent marketplaces. It's still very early, but I see this being, you know, the sort of rocket ship over the next year or two. And right now, it's like, okay, there's an AI agent that can review your website and give you a comprehensive SEO report. Cool. You know, maybe you would have to pay someone a couple of $100s to do that a little while ago. And then there's another agent that maybe it can do some customer research and find the right customer profile and start maybe doing lead generation. And I think that's really cool. And then maybe it'll start doing outreach, and maybe it'll build a McKinsey-style business plan for you and things like that. Right now, they're pretty bland, they're pretty samey, but they're going to get radically better. So my advice to everyone is just to keep an eye on what's going out, to be trialing the tools, to be on top of really what the best ones are coming. And then if you're there when this sort of will explode, because it will, you'll be so far ahead of everyone else. It's really the best piece of advice I can give you.
Beautiful. So leverage AI tools to make sure that your SEO work is doing best. And then what other factors can you add to the marketing campaign here for AIBC next year?
Well, something I see as maybe a change for events in the future is maybe less of this, where we're here on panels, and more everyone interactive, kind of like a forum. Because I'm sure there's people sitting in this audience that know way more than I do about this topic, and I would love to learn from them as well. I think in the future we're going to have a lot of interaction, so maybe AI can come up with some sort of strategy where we can get more audience interaction versus just us talking to them.
Beautiful. By the way, on the SEO part, I want to drop a gem for everybody who has an agency, a marketing agency right now. Take notes. This is going to change your... It's going to put you in front of everybody else. Now, SEO somehow doesn't matter. Why? Because now if I want to do a research, I barely go to Google. I go to Perplexity, I go to ChatGPT or whatever, DeepSeek. If you want to work on something, rank your clients on top of the results of the LLMs when they generate results. This is your focus. If you make sure that you give this service as early as possible, because we're giving it, so you have some time, you're gonna win a lot, all right? Now, Rola, like the guys mentioned a couple of things on the AIBC campaign for next year, like the interactive forum and focusing on leveraging AI tools to get an advantage on search results. What do you think of this plan? Do you think, does it have the human touch and does it connect with people? Does it feel authentic when you use the AI tools? Like, are we ready now to use these tools and then it will look and connect with people normally? Or do we need to wait a bit or include more human on the strategy at least?
I guess it depends on what specifically you're referring to. So I want to refine the question a little bit.
Please.
Meaning, would you refine the question a little bit?
So the guys suggested a couple of strategies on how to enhance AIBC's marketing campaign next year. Do you think these strategies connect in a human when they leverage like a lot of AI tools to create the marketing campaign, or do we need humans to strategize alongside with AI campaigns?
As things stand today, I personally believe it still absolutely needs the human touch. There's no chance that it, in my opinion, that it's doing a good enough job. And I literally speak to my AI Zane every morning, and he's still not quite on top of his thing. So, and talk about programming, giving information, and I'm having to check. Have you guys noticed the mistakes it's making? I've seen so many mistakes where it's like, okay, if the human is making mistakes, some of the human mistakes aren't even as bad as the mistakes I've seen on AI recently. So that makes me really pull back a little bit. We've got quite a bit to go, which literally could happen tomorrow, but in the meantime, I don't feel 100% safe with it. It's 1,000% we've got to have human touch at every level at this point.
I mean, just an example there, what I mentioned earlier, I asked ChatGPT, tell me about AI agent marketplaces, and it went, Microsoft. and like basically all of the research that I had done that I put in a document, there wasn't one that was a genuine one in there, and it was all like Microsoft and Google and things like that. So you're right, it's not there yet. But you know, we're on this exponential curve, and we're just hitting this almost vertical point, so that's not gonna last long.
This is gonna take me to the, I know we gotta wrap in a bit, but let's in a couple of words, where do you think AI in marketing will be in the next 5 years? Maybe Daniel, you start, just your predictions.
Just to touch on what you said earlier, real quick, traditional media sites have very strong authority when it comes to AI search. So I still see that as a big thing. Yeah, maybe domain authority doesn't really matter that much anymore, but what we find is the more traditional type news sites, the more we do, the higher up they come in AI search.
Interesting. Note down, guys. What do you think?
I think the point earlier was that people are going on Google less and SEO is less evident, and I completely agree. And so I think marketing will change a little bit. In-person events will become more important. Getting on podcasts and articles that people are going to read, that sort of stuff is going to get more important. We will clearly have a far better ability for small businesses to be able to really level up and utilize these tools to get done what previously would cost 5 or 10K a month, and they just couldn't afford that. And that is fantastic for small businesses. But the landscape will change within the next few years, I think.
I'm going to sound a little crazy, but maybe not. I have such a far-fetched way of, my image around this looks crazy, where we're all walking around amongst each other, and there's a display in front of me where I can only see it, nobody else can, but everybody has their own versions of what's in the air. And as they're walking around, we're each paid to have a conversation, because I've got some ClickBank associated with whatever. Every conversation, oh, you needed what? I actually just saw, and it kind of pulls up exactly what the marketing strategy is and say this, and we all become marketers as we walk through the streets with instant information as we communicate with each other.
Love it. Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, I think social media will become, no one's going to use social media in the future. If AI agents are the only thing using social media, why would we want to be on it? We have our AI agents. We'll become social in person.
True.
It's the dead internet theory. If everything online is made by an AI, then no one really cares to do it, and I agree. But we are all going to have our own agent, and I actually love that example. Yeah. Because when you have an AI that can have infinite knowledge, it will just be able to match the people who are looking for something with the people who can supply it.
And if we go even a little bit deeper and acknowledge the fact that they're proving that we live in a simulation, and the simulation ultimately is driven by emotion, then this is going to be very different in the very near future.
True. I think it's safe to say AI almost is not coming for anyone's job. It's coming for people's tasks, all right? And currently, when it comes to everything in creativity, building a brand trust, we still need humans. I think it's safe to say that, at least for now. Maybe in 3 years, we never know, right? So for the audience, I'd like to ask you to post on social media and tag us and answer one question. If this panel was created by AI and moderated by AI, would it be better? So thank you, AIBC, for having us. Thank you, my friends, for being here, and see you soon.
Bravo, thank you so much. Well, it was curated by myself. It was moderated by you. And another round of applause for our non-AI speakers, which is amazing. Yeah, I'll take a quick picture. Can we take a picture, please? By the way, I've been taking notes on AI marketing strategy for AIBC for next year. Thank you.